Last week, The Boys Season 2 came to an end in an explosive style. The season had me like this, and the season finale delivered on who the head blower-up killer was and left us all like... I certainly did not expect that at all, and I'm pretty sure no one before the episode would have bet on Victoria Neuman being the killer, but here we are. I have to say, Claudia Dumit's acting as her was amazing and really helped with the reveal. I've been a big fan of her since her days on Timeless, which if you haven't seen, you definitely should. Both seasons available on Netflix. However, I am sick of people online playing as her in the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare and killing me constantly. Anyway, back to the video. So today we're going to try and work out if Victoria Neuman is a soup working for good or a soup who is actually working for Vought. So, to start off, let's look at all the moments Miss Neuman is in the show and analyse them. The first time we meet the character is in the very first episode of Season 2, The Big Ride. She is on CNN talking about how worried she is about super terrorists. However, the scene before we see Susan Rayner's head being blown off, which we now know was Miss Neuman. Now what's interesting about when we're first introduced to the character is actually the way Stan Edgar reacts to the news with those facial expressions. They seem slightly disapproving, but not of her. As we know later on in the series, Stan doesn't particularly like the way Vought is going, especially with Stormfront. Which makes me think, he knows her and is hoping she can change the direction Vought is going in. We then meet Miss Neuman again in episode 3 where she's on the news talking about Compound V and how Vought lied to us. From this little snippet, you'd have to assume she doesn't work for Vought, or doesn't anymore at least. The next time Miss Neuman is on our screens is in episode 5 when she is outside Vaught's headquarters rallying the people to take down Vought about lying to the public about Compound V. If we look at her speech, we can see she is really speaking to the people and is promising them the hearing that they want. We also know now, having watched the series, that the hearing is where it all goes down. Is this so she can look like a good guy and get the people to vote for her? The scene ends with Homelander coming down and, well, making a fool of himself and giving her even more support. What I find more interesting is her look towards Homelander throughout the scene outside of when Homelander is daydreaming that he's lasering everyone. She looks scared to start with, like she knows he's going to do something, but by the end of it is almost sizing him up. She knows she can probably take him out, but he doesn't seem to know that. Which could be a clue to us that she doesn't work for Vought. However, Vought is so big, it's easy for them to have never even have met. We then see Miss Neuman in the mind-blowing, literally, episode 7. The episode starts with her and the boys discussing how they will take down Vought in the court, with her suggesting that Lamplighter will be a great witness, but not enough. For me, looking back, this is more of an egging on than a simple suggestion. She makes the point, if you've got a shot at the king, you better take the shot. However, as we know from later on, she may not have actually been referring to Vought as the king. I reckon she was referring to the main witness, Dr. Vogelbaum, who the boys get by the time the court hearing happens. Now let's move on to the court hearing. Hopefully the analysis of this will be as mind-blowing as the scene itself. Can I just start off by saying I love how in this scene the Deep checks his head even though he's in a pub probably miles away. Anyway, the scene starts with Miss Neuman accusing Vought of their crimes, and then the hearing takes place with Dr. Vogelbaum being called in as the first witness to testify against Vought. But just as he's about to speak, the judge's head explodes, quickly followed by Dr. Vogelbaum's. Miss Neuman looks in shock, but that might be because of the amount of blood that just splattered on her face, not the actual situation. It then proceeds to many people's heads exploding. Let's look at who she actually took out. There's the judge, Dr. Vogelbaum, Shockwave, Miss Neuman's assistant, and a few more general people, but out of the 4 people clearly shown, it makes things very interesting in terms of Miss Neuman working for Vought. Firstly, without a judge, the hearing will have to be delayed if not called off. Dr. Vogelbaum being killed is the last serious witness who can take down Vought by himself. Shockwave dying means that A-Train can get back in the 7, which we know Stan Edgar is a fan of and wouldn't have got rid of him if it wasn't for Stormfront. And Miss Neuman's assistant may have been the only one who knew what she was capable of. It also gives her a good alibi. Why would she kill her own assistant? The only real question is, why didn't she take out Stormfront? Maybe as someone to blame, or maybe she wasn't sure it would kill her. On to the final episode, episode 8. The first scene we see Miss Neuman in is where her and Mallory are talking to the Secretary of Defense, who says he's going to announce that the use of Compound V to make super soldiers to fight the super terrorists, who they believe killed all the people at the court hearing. the secretary is begging for a reason so he can't announce the news. He agrees with them. What's also interesting about the scene is the line said by Miss Neuman. Look, there's no terrorist, it was Vought. It's a coup. Now, this line, I believe, could be a big clue that she is working for Vought. She knows who the killer was and she has an agenda, which I believe is to cleanse Vought of the bad like Stormfront, but also make Compound V stay within Vought and not to the general world. Which is why she's telling the truth with that sentence. I also believe that Miss Neuman having the conversation with the secretary enabled her to tell Mr. Edgar so he can have a discussion with the Church of the Collective, and knowing A-Train was probably going to be listening, get evidence on Stormfront from the vault there, which is then given to the boys who wreak havoc with this information. It then leads to an announcement that Stormfront was to blame for the attack at the courthouse and that Compound V would be put on hold, completing in my eyes Miss Neuman's mission for Vought by cleansing them of Stormfront and keeping Compound V to themselves, as well as getting her closer to a position of power and also making sure she's not blamed for the courthouse attack. We then get to the part where it's revealed she is the killer as she brutally takes out the head of the Church of the Collective, who incidentally are really the only people other than the boys left who have the knowledge and power to take out Vought. He was killed after trying to make a deal for information on Supes. Coincidence? I don't think so. To then add to this, it ends with Huey joining her team. One of the last few people who can stop Vought now works for her. Now, the last thing to look at is Victoria Neuman in the comics. In the comics, the character is actually a male called Victor, who, well, is the complete opposite of the character we see in the show, including not actually being a super. But what's interesting is in the comic, he was Vaught's CEO, who becomes president to help unleash the super soldiers. Now, the show and comics are pretty different, but they do take more than just the name across to the show. So as the characters are completely different, I believe they will take the character as working for Vought, just not with the same agenda of unleashing the super soldiers. Overall, from looking over the show with a fine toothpick, I do believe that Victoria Neuman works for Vought as an undercover agent who is so undercover even the likes of Homelander doesn't know about her, just like he didn't know about the labs testing the supes. I believe she works directly under Stan Edgar, and this season was used to calm down the Compound V situation, as well as getting any of the original ideologies from Vaught's Nazi past out the way, including Stormfront. She is also close to all the anti-Vought groups and organizations, meaning her and Vought should now be one step ahead of them every time. But that's just what I think. Do you think Victoria Neuman works for Vought or not? Tell us in the field section below or comment section for you newbies. If you enjoyed this video, why not hit that like button and share this video on social media? If you're new to the channel, why not click that subscribe button for 2 TV and film related videos every week? If you're already subscribed and awesome like that, why not also click on that bell button so you never miss a new video? I've been Lewis here on Gated Theories. See you next week with another video.